like, you know, people giving me advice when I'm not asking for it. And I not that I feel like I know it all, but I feel like you gotta be able to know when you can be able to give advice, because the only way you can give advice is if you have something to offer that person, right? It doesn't always have to be money or something like that. It's not all about money, but it has to be either knowledge, experience, or something like that that you can give back. And a lot of times when people give you advice, it's not really to help you, it's to really try to put you down and try to put you in a box and shit like that. So it's like, I know that, so then when people give me advice, I either don't respond or I tell them like, yo, what it is, and they don't like that shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, how can you give me business advice if you don't have no audience? You have no business. It means you have no business giving me business advice. Now, the people who give me business advice, who have businesses, that doesn't happen, right? People who have businesses and who are doing successful don't have that much time to be given advice unless they're your good friend, right? But when they do give you advice, it's like you listen to that and you take that in. But if it's somebody and they don't have no experience, they don't know what it's like. So how can they know what it's like to, you know, to be in your shoes? You know what I'm saying? And maybe, and let's say you're wilding out. Let's say you do something that you're wilding out, and right, maybe they can tell you, but you gotta know what's the difference between wilding out, like, and not wilding out. Right? What is your message? Right? If it still aligns with your message, right? Then, and it doesn't really take away from that message, then I think it's fine. You know, I know that, you know, thinking so much about what others think about you is gonna keep you stagnant in your growth, and it's not gonna allow you to see the bigger picture, because you're not gonna be able to see the broadness of yourself. Because you're gonna be like, oh, I'm supposed to act like this, I'm supposed to do like this, I can't say this, I can't listen to this, I'm not supposed to hang around with this people, I'm not supposed to listen to this music, just because society told you that you have to behave a certain way and that you have to live within a certain box, right? You know? So yeah, so like once you like break free from that shit, and then like once you tell them people like that, like, yo, you have no business giving me advice, that's like, they get offended, right? But it's like, you didn't ask for that advice, so you didn't ask for the advice. So if you're somebody giving advice, even if you should be giving good advice, even if you're giving good advice, don't expect that advice to be like taken, right? And don't expect for that advice to be received well, because sometimes a person's not asking for advice. So usually I don't give advice unless I'm like close with you and I feel like I'm saving your life, and I'm telling you that because I don't care if you get mad or whatever, right? So you have to take that aside. So if you get mad at me, I'm not gonna respond and say some other mad shit. I'm just gonna be like, yo, bro, it's like, or it's just like, yo, I'm trying to help. I'm not really, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna, you might say some shit like, oh, blah, 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 back to me to like try to make me get mad at you, and now we have a fight. I'm not gonna go back, but I'm gonna just continue, or I'm gonna like speak on what I feel to help save your life. So that's the only reason, that's the only time that I'll give advice, and that's the only time that you should be giving advice, and you know, to save that person's life. Or to help them see something they didn't see. But a lot of times, you're gonna start getting advice when you start to become successful and shit like that, and it's like, why the fuck you ain't give me advice? I didn't need it. I don't need advice. I need help, not advice. I need help. I need helping hands, not advice. Tell me what you can do versus like what I should do. Because I don't need fucking help. I don't need help with telling me what to do. I'm good on that. Unless you're somebody who cares about me to save my life, then yeah. But random people and shit like that, it can even be your friends too, telling you advice because you leveling up, and that intimidates them because then they gotta level up themselves too as well. Because your circle is a reflection of yourself. So if you're leveling up and you have friends that are around you, they're gonna have to level up, or they're gonna bring you down. Either one has to happen, right? And if you're leveling up and there's no way you can go down, they're gonna try to bring you down, and then when you try to level them back up, they're gonna give resistance. So that's because everything is not for everybody. And they be saying like, yo, when you get money, people be switching up. I mean, you're supposed to switch up. You're not supposed to stay the same. That's what we come here to do, is to change, right? We have to better ourselves. We don't want to stay the same. So if you get in more success through something that helps not only yourself too as well, you're gonna start getting a lot of advice and a lot of opinions. When it was like, damn, they'll remember you saying anything before, when it was like, when I was struggling to get sales, or like struggling to get a repost or whatever. Now you see that it's lit. You know what I'm saying? It's like you got all the advice. You care so much. And I know, no, I'm not saying that them people don't care, but it's like they trying to still put you into they don't even know too. They don't even know that they can't trying to keep you into a box, but you know, because you have already elevated. So now, once they try to put you down and you bring that to their attention, they're gonna get mad. And hopefully that seed can plant and they can understand that. But most of the times it won't, and it ain't gonna be nothing that you say that's gonna help them to understand it. Nothing. So keep on doing you and stay in your lane and keep on leveling up and try to help those around you to level up. But if they can't come around, then they can't come around. And but if they're around, you're gonna help each other, because then now that person's gonna level up and help you level up too as well. Because no one's better than each other, right? But if we're all working to improve, it doesn't matter what level you're on about money. It just matters that you're working on improving yourself. So if you're working on improving yourself and really doing your best, someone else who's doing their best is gonna notice that and be like, I bet I wanna like yo, I can fuck with that. Like, yo, we can work with it. We can work together. We can do shit. It might not be every day. It might be some days. We can do something. But the other people who don't want to do nothing, they just want to hang out and shit like that. They just want to tell you what to do. They want to like be on the same shit. It's not that they don't want the best for you. It's just they can't. They don't see the best in themselves. So keep on trying to help them realize that. But if they don't realize that within yourself, you can't kill yourself trying to help them realize some shit, because it's not going to be words that help. Because it's not going to be words that help them to understand. They got to really understand that for themselves.
Doing it the hard way, you feel me? Like, going to get a pistol.
Like, robbing niggas selling weed, that shit's harder.
And I
like,
can just
doing a
maybe
business,
100,000 or more real quick. Even a 50, even a dub, you feel me? Like, that ain't nothing. I'm putting y'all on some real game. But a lot of folks ask me if they had 10,000. Like, if I had 10,000, how would I make some money? 10,000 not a lot of money. I mean, you can get you a few bags, you feel me, or some Zai or something like that to flip them. But 10,000 really not a lot of money. But it is, if you catch my drift, like when you broke, came from nothing, it's a lot of money. But if you done had 10,000 80 times, that's nothing, you feel me? But 10,000, I got some ways. I just can't be on here talking all crazy saying, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I had 10,000, I'd be It's nothing. You feel me? Like you already got a little money to got, start with and finish it with. You feel me? It just when you only got $10,000 and you gotta pay bills and live, it's kind of hard because your 10,000 going down every month. You supposed to have got another string. 10,000 just supposed to be what you got to the side.
That's what I'm saying, bro. You heard? You gotta have that 10,000. Once you have that 10,000, you gotta. That's how you make $1 million like in 2 years or 2 to 3 years, bro. 2 to 3 years. You gotta have that 10,000 stack, but not dependent on that shit. So like if you came up from that if you came up with the SBA or you came up with the unemployment, you gotta take that shit and then stack it and then have another stream of income that's bringing you in more money too. So you're not eating it up and shit like that. Cause that $10,000 that I got from I got $10,000 from an accident. I was spending money like on Ubers and shit to get around, but I had to I was like, damn, I'm spending mad money, so I had to take the train more too when there wasn't that much delivery. So if there wasn't a certain amount of deliveries for the store, I wouldn't take the train. I'll take the Uber. I wouldn't take the Uber. I'll take a train. Like however I gotta get it. You know what I'm saying? Tie that shit up good. Take an Uber to the train station and I'm good. Take it to the spot. Make sure hopefully they have an elevator. Some spots they didn't have an elevator, but you know what I'm saying? You gotta make sure that you're not spending more money because you can run it up crazy, just getting around on the train and Uber and shit like that. Make sure that when you're getting around, that shit's making you money. So that's why when I got hit, I'm just like, nah, I'm not gonna just invest that straight into marketing or whatever. I invest that into the business to make more money. So I was like, alright, bet I gotta make sure that when I invest this money, I'm making at least if I invest $6K, I'm at least making $3,000 a month type shit, which is type risky and shit. But at least it's if I invest that $6K, or first I wouldn't invest that much off rip. I would invest let's say I got 10,000, I would invest and I'm making $3,000 a month. I would invest $1,000. That's still kind of like a lot of money, but at least it only will set you back a few weeks and not 2 months, right? You take that money and then you start making more money, and then you take that 10,000 to help you make more money from that, right? So if it works, then you keep on putting more money. And then if you got a product or service or like that, you might have to start hiring people. But you gotta start doing it. You gotta make sure that the business is consistent. It's not just off of the promotion, and so that you gotta make sure that you got those customers and then they're consistent and they're buying more, so that your main audience is growing. You know?
3,000-4,000 every month, or 5,000.
So if you're doing that,
I want to put it on
10,
Bitcoin.
and you with the stocks,
so look, if
you can put 5 racks into the stocks and shit like that. Have that shit grow, and have that 5 for a rainy day. Have 5 in the stock market.
45,000.
But you gotta.
Yeah, you supposed to be. That's why I say
before you invest into the stock market, you gotta make sure that you learn that shit. So make sure you spend at least 2 years learning that shit. You can do paper trading and stuff like that. So while you're making money on your business, don't be rushing to make money with the stock market, because 90% of people lose their money with that shit. So you got to be doing the opposite of what the average person is doing. So you got to make sure that you're testing out your plays and shit like that. And don't get hyped up because you made money one time. Just make sure that you can consistently make money over a year, because you're going to be doing it over time. So a lot of times it's you're gonna be making money and losing money with the stock market, right? I've lost thousands of dollars with the stock market, but I've made thousands of dollars. You gotta just balance that and make more than you lose, right? So if you can balance that and make more than you lose on a long-term basis, then you can start to invest part of your money into it, and then it's gonna grow, keep on growing. But you wanna be making most of your money from your business, right? And have that 10,000 keep on growing into 12, 30, 40, 50, and have that stack keep on growing, and then have that income that you're having continuing to grow, and have that put in 10,000, you have that 10,000 stash, you put 5,000 in the stock market, don't pick out of it. Let that shit grow. You don't gotta put more. Keep on letting that shit grow. That shit might turn 40,000 at the end of the year. You keep on letting that grow. Now you got $40,000 instead of $5,000 to play with, right? That 40,000 next year is $400,000 if you play it right, right? Or it might be fucking 120. That's still a lot, right? You made a fucking that much money off a few plays off the year off of stocks, but your main business is, let's say, something else, right? Mine is, selling herbs and everything like that, but you don't have to do that. You can do other things, like, let's say if it's real estate, let's say if it's art, or reselling sneakers or clothes, or let's say what's another business, a graphic designer, photographer, whatever you are doing on the side. You want to be taking that money that you have that stashed away and investing it in it little by little, right? So that you're not investing that whole 10,000 in it, because you want to put in that, you want to use it sparingly, you know what I'm saying? Because shit can happen. You can make a wrong choice, so you want to use it as it goes, right? So then when that shit pays off, some that might pay off, some might pay off sooner, some might pay off later, and some you might lose. So you want to make sure that you're spreading you're diversifying your money, so that your 10,000 is never going below 10,000. Then it's slowly increasing as you're making more money from your business, as you're making more money from your investments, and as you're putting money to the side, right? And letting that shit grow. And you can buy other things like gold and real estate and stuff like that. When you buy real estate, you can rent out that property, you can Airbnb that bitch. Now you have another business that you got to create another LLC, and things of that nature, right? So with that $10,000, you can make $1 million if you're doing the right thing. You can be making $1 million a month in the next 2 years if you play it right? But you can't once you get that 10,000, you can't cash out. Once you get that 100,000, once you get that 250,000, you can't start cashing out and buying foreigns and buying expensive shit and going out and looking good and everything like that. You gotta stop worrying about looking good. Stop trying to look good, yo. Y'all are some Madonnas out there. Y'all wanna look so good all the time, yo. Stop trying to look good. Cause you're trying to impress some nigga who don't give a fuck about you. You're trying to impress some bitch that's gonna fuck some other nigga who look better than you, who look more pretty than you, or she gonna fuck some nigga that is not as pretty as you, but is more up, has more bread, and she knows it, and he plays it low key because she knows that the niggas with real bread play it low key, and it gets very nasty. I'm telling you, it gets very nasty at that point. So you're spending your money trying to look good. You don't have the bag yet. You didn't really secure it yet. You're selling out for 6 figures. And in 2020, 6 figures, you on your way, but you ain't hit the finish line yet. Don't start doing hip hip hooray. Yeah, right? Because you know what I'm saying? You can make a couple of them shits. You can get more, right? And it's not about, if you're fine with that, then you'll be fine with that. But if you want to be helping more people, if you want to really acquire that bag, you know what I'm saying? That's what you got to do. But it depends on what you're doing, right? So if you're like in the health and wellness industry, it can't be like, oh, you want to be getting the bag, right? Not with the health part of the business. It got to be saving lives. That got to be the first and foremost thing. Helping people, right? Then after that, it's like non-for-profit, but you know it's not, right? You know, that first and foremost got to be the first thing that's most important, and then you're going to get paid that bag. And then after that, you can put that into other businesses that you can be a bit more aggressive with, right? That's not people's lives and stuff. But at the end of the day, I don't think that you have to be so aggressive with everything, right? Like, you can, you know. But at the end of the day, you got to be, it's business. You got to be kind of aggressive with it. Like, you got to be aggressive with, you might not have to be aggressive with your clients, but you can be aggressive with your prices to be competitive, you know what I'm saying? So that the people are getting, and the reason why you're doing that, so that the people get the best deal and get the best quality, right? You got to be competitive, and be aggressive too, you know? Make sure that you're aggressive and you get that shit too. You know, you could be a nice guy, calm and shit like that to your customers. But when it comes to other businesses, you don't have to be like, oh, don't get from them, da 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 da. You could just provide a better quality, lower prices. They'll phase out. People will know. You know what I'm saying? You outbrand them, you outmarket them. They'll know. People will know. They know what's up. So you keep on doing your best, and then people are gonna gravitate that. Everybody's can do their own thing in their own way and do a good job being their best. So that's all you gotta do. Worry about is doing your best and being your best. And that's, you know, you don't gotta worry about competing with other people. Once you compete with other people, that's when things start to go left. You can start to throw away a lot of opportunities that are presented even by that person that you're trying to compete with. Instead of trying to compete with them, see how you can work with them too. Always see how you can work with them before you try to go into battle with them, because that might not be a battle that you want to go into, right? Unless you know you got that, right? So I wouldn't be making sure. I would try to work with everybody that you can. If you can't, then you can't. You got to be able to know who to work with and who to not work with, because you know everything is not for everybody, and especially if you got a good business, you know there's gonna be a lot of people who try to jump on, but that shit's not for them. You know what I'm saying? So you can't have everybody in that shit. So you gotta have little testers to see, you know, and little interviews and things, how to discern who's right and exact and who should be in this shit, who you should be working with, who you can trust. And that's with every business too. You gotta make sure that you have the right people involved and invested into your business. The same way how you want to have the right type of money and invested into the right type of things, you want to have the invested interest in your favor.